Teresa says, I see you. That's what I need to know. I see you. Great, Alex. Thank you. Teradine, we're good. Alrighty. So, I love these. Used in the right arena. So, it says that I froze for a second. Alright, I'm back. Frozen. Switch, my forehead should be as frozen. Can't wait to get back to the Botox. Oh my God. Okay, thanks, Teresa. I know I'm good. Alright, awesome. Dan, I'm here. Good. So I wanted to give you a visual of these 5-minute toners, and these I all processed for 5 minutes, and I used them on the level 10 swatch. So here you can see the complexity and the depth of them, right? So they're really intense. So agreed, you gotta be thoughtful when you use them. Even the anti-yellow up in here, this has a lot of depth. So this is why I use this one at the bowl, and I'm very cautious. Here's your anti-red and your anti-brass. So that gives you what the base colors look like on these. So I hope you can see that and the lighting's okay. Thank you for my perfect forehead. I just want to look at my notes here to make sure that I'm on track here. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is I also use these red anti-brass and the alkalins. I use them for pre-toning. So I do a lot of pre-toning now, so that I always think about when I'm toning like an artist. So an artist starts out with a white canvas, right? They get a white canvas that looks like this. There's no color to it. And one of the first things they do to their canvas is they tone it, and they put like a burnt umber on, or they put a sienna color on, or they do something like that to soften that whiteness. Well, our canvas hair already has that natural background, underlying pigment. So we already have a nice toned canvas. But I always like when I'm toning and glossing to create more than one coat. So it starts to create complexity and finish in your color. They look much more complex and prettier and well-rounded. And the alkaline toners are fantastic for that first coat, to get a little bit of control on that hair before you lay your demi-permanent over the top. So it's a great way to get more control before you lay your demi over the top. Did that help? Let's see. If you're slower, could you use it clear with them, or more tend to dilute a little? Maybe it'd be a crazy question, but I'm asking. I don't think it's a crazy question at all. We do not recommend that you use clear with them or mix more 10. I would suggest to you that if you want to have a little bit more control, again, maybe the hair is a little more moist. Right? So not a crazy question. I think it's legit, and just do it at the bowl and you will be absolutely fine and have control. Stand there and watch it. Alright, so back to pre-toning. So I like to pre-tone and get things balanced before I put my next color on the top and create that complexity. So I want to give you an example outside of blondes for pre-toning. Is this good information so far, everybody? I want to do a temperature check. I feel like I'm rambling on. It's interesting when you are... What about adding water to the bowl to slow it down, April? Good question. I would not. Don't dilute the product. Will it work? There's lots of about mixing. How would you do that if they're at different levels? Very carefully. So here's what I would say about the different levels. I missed who asked the question, but all of these tones are going to have a visual value that is different levels. Blue is always going to look darker. Red is going to look the least dark, and then violet's always going to be lighter. So think about it as visual value, not level. Anyway, so I just wanted to make sure that we're good and move forward. I wanted to give you an example when I was thinking about pre-toning. I had a client come in just before all of this, and she's a redhead that I was doing with Logix, and it was 6R and 6RO imprints, very, very red. So just know that it's a 6R, 6RO, demi-permanent, super red. She loves it. And her agent asked her to go more natural and more neutral. And so one of the things that I did when she came in was like, I thought, okay, how do you do that? How do you do that without pulling all the red out? how can I do this responsibly, be results driven, have the best intention for the hair, be the least disruptive? So I started thinking about it, and she came in and she had a half inch of regrowth at the base, and then her imprints in the Aro family. So the first thing I did is I thought, I need to even out my canvas. So this may feel a little counterintuitive, but it's going to go into pre-toning. I first did her base with her original formula, and I processed it for 30 minutes. And I shampooed it out, and I dried it, because I wanted to even out the canvas. Because what I want to do ultimately now is take this red that I have, and I want to apply an anti-red to the entire canvas to make it neutral. Everybody with me on this now? So now I've got a neutral canvas to work on, more balanced. I've got the color wheel all the way taken care of. I've got a neutral balance. It wasn't perfectly neutral, but way more neutral and way more balanced. She looked like a warm chestnut. Now, I went in and I did highlights on top of that with micro highlights, Lightmaster 20 volume, did all these beautiful baby lights through the head, did a nice face frame on it, and all the hair that was on the outside of the foil, I went back in with Color Sync, and I used a 7AG in ash gold on the rest of that hair to give it a second coat on top of the anti-red. Everybody with me on that? So now that's all processing, and it looks, so I shampoo it out, and now she's got neutralized and these beautiful highlights, and then I was able to go back in and then gloss and tone those highlights that I had pre-lightened, and it came out beautiful. And what I'll do is I'll get the photos and post them on my Instagram feed so that you guys can see the before and after on that. But did that make sense? How to think about pre-toning so that you can balance tones out, so when you're lifting it out, it's much easier and much more even, which is what I really love. So don't just think about pre-toning as blondes, right? Is this good? Thumbs up if you think it's good. Alrighty, I'm going to look at your questions for a second and take a breath. Okay, good. Thank you, Teresa. Thumbs up. Thank you. Yes, can't wait to see the photos. Thanks, Dan, for the thumbs up. All right, cool. You know, I'm a colorist in the salon, and I can't wait to get back to it, but I just want you to know that you know, I'm using this brand every single day, and it's what speaks to me and the tools that they have that allow me this creative expression, and I want to think of ways that are outside of the box for you to work with them. So that's how I work with these 5-minute alkaline toners. They're fantastic for that. I also wanted to let you know that you know, when they're alkaline, it gave that little bit of budge, maybe a little bit of shift on that hair that was down here too, because they're alkaline. So that worked in my favor as well. Anyway, then the hair was in great shape, felt good, it was completely balanced, and it lightened off much easier. So anytime you're lightening and you trying to go from a red or a fashion shade or whatever, balance it and then go back in and lighten. You think you're putting in extra steps and it's taking you longer, but I guarantee you the colorists out there, the minute you think you're taking a shortcut, it takes you twice as long on the back end. So trust it from somebody who's done it. You don't have to do it again. I did it for you. So what did you guys think about that for the alkaline toners? Use them not for just balancing out blondes. Oh, here's the other thing I thought about. How about brunettes that are going to be worn or gotten a little rusty or warm on the ends when they come back in because they've been gone for a couple of months? How about we first color balance that, right? Before we do the base, or do the base and then when it's almost done, put your 5-minute fast toner on this, shampoo it out, and then second coat everything. Now you've balanced out that rusty brown that's gotten warm, you've cooled it down, neutralized it, and now you put your second coat on, and now what will happen is if you're using an ash tone, it's just going to be asher and more controlled, right? It's what are you putting it against? So it's another great use. Question, do you charge more for having to do more steps? I do charge more for doing more steps. I am for profit and I call it a la carting. So yes, it's a la carte. But I want to preface something with that, is that if in fact it's a severe color correction, what I try to do in those, if it seems like it's going to take a few hours and it's going to take a long time, then I try to charge by the hour and figure out what your corrective price is by the hour. And it just makes it easier because then you don't feel like you're nickel and diming and having to figure out this ticket that's this long. Just like say, this is what I charge for corrective color by the hour. So either or, I hope that helps. Either way is great. But yes, I a la carte often. Can you put it all over or just do what you want on the red spots? Absolutely, you could put it all on just the areas that you wanted to color correct. Absolutely. Let's see. The clients are paying for the result. Yes, Lorraine, they're paying for the result. Celebrate all wins for you. Yes, absolutely. That's fantastic. So, it's already 11:29, and I hope this is good information so far with you guys. But I don't want to. Oh, I'm going to see if this works, you guys. Let me know if you can check this out. The question is, how do they work with porosity? From Katie. Katie, porosity is everything. Please know, porosity, they will respond to porosity just like any other color, so keep that in mind. So, this is going to be a little crazy, and I don't know if it's going to read, but I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to risk it. This is a picture similar to what I did in the example that I just showed you with Marianne's Color the Redhead. So I'm going to see if I can do this. So in the middle right here, this is color I had in my garage. I had 7RC. Do you see that one in the middle right here? This is 7RC. That, just imagine this whole West was 7RC. Then what I did is I wanted to show you, if I just used 8A color sync, did I get some control over that RC? Absolutely. I did get some control on it, yeah? Actually pretty good. I just have to put it down for a second because I want to separate out the next one. Now, if you look at this piece right here, and listen, I am a person whose toning is subtle. This is done with just the anti-red. So do you see how much control that gave me? Look at this. So that really toned that down. Thumbs up if you can see the color. So that's anti-red over the 7RC for 5 minutes. This is 8A alone. Then what I wanted to show you was what happens if I do 8A on top. This is the pre-tone right here, and now I'm going to second coat it with 8A. Look at even how much more control I get. Let's see if I can get that better. I hope that this reads. So even if you were, just trust me on this, if you look close, just the 8A alone isn't as cool as the 8A plus laid over the top of the anti-red. I think you can actually see it. I think it's pretty good. Is it a thumbs up? So that's pre-toning. So that's essentially what I did to my client. And when you think about lightening now, this is going to lighten much easier and more even than this here. Right? Terry Dean says you can see the difference. Awesome. I actually did it with the anti-brass too. This one's kind of interesting. I had 7AG. I had some here. So now we have the Power Cools in sync, but I did this with, and I had 7cc+. I put the anti-brass over it, same principle. This is 7AG and anti-brass. Again, I think this would lift easier off of when we go back in to lighten. So hope you guys like that. Perfect. So I want to move on now to, that's pre-toning. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's see. Big difference. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kate's Looks. I agree. I hope it's good. So, we've done the alkaline toners. I use them a lot for pre-toning. I use them a lot for color correction. I use them a lot for that balancing in brunettes, not just blonde. So think about the level that you're using them on. Moving forward. I like to use something like an acidic now at the end, right? That's lower on the pH. So below a 7, which is great. And they work really well after we've pre-lightened. So I guess you guys would agree that, well, I hope you agree, that after we've lightened hair, it's already swollen, right? We've used a lightener, and that pH on a lightener can run as high as 13, 14. So that's up there, right? Really high. That cuticle's already swollen. So it's open and ready to receive color. So that's why I like to, in blondes, often go to a acid-based glossing or toning. And so let's just move on to those if you guys are good. Lisa loves balayage. Thanks, Lisa Walker. Thanks for, I did try to put something fabulous on today. I even did a little of that for you. So thank you, Lisa. Good to see you. So here is acid-based, right? So I swatched some of these out as well, all of them actually. And I swatched them out on levels, like inside a banana, outside a banana, so you could actually see the finish on those, and I'll talk about how and when and why I use those. So they come in ash and violet and steel and nude. So I want to show you, I'm going to start with, oddly enough, let's start with the steel and the nude. So these are really beautiful, right? The finish. So on the steel, you can see I did it on an 8 and on a 10. And so what base, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. What base is this right here? What does it look like to you? What tonal series does it look like to you? Does it look violet-y? Does it look violet-y? Or silvery kind of, it's nice, right? So look at what happened when I put it on the level 8. It balanced it out, didn't it? So it tells me that there's got to be violet in there, right? Because it neutralized it. So this is interesting when you start thinking about toning. The level you put it on matters, right? So on a level 10, you can see the base of it. On a level 8, it's balancing. Hello, toning. It's great. So that's a great finish there in just one coat. However, I have to share something with you. We now have an acidic, oh, hang on, this is the nude. I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is the nude. It's a beautiful soft finish. You can see here I left a little control at the top. So that is the steel and the nude. I have been using this, the sheer steel, which is here. I have been using this on men who have salt and pepper hair, and it has been awesome, because what I've been able to do is not disrupt their natural hair. How many times have you colored a man's hair, you use an alkaline demi-permanent, pick one, and they come back in 4 weeks and it's got orange and yellow. So over it, right? So annoying. And it looks great when they leave and they come back and it's yellow. So this is acid. So it doesn't disrupt the color and just makes their gray super sparkly. I'm loving it, and I'm just letting it process for 20 minutes. Here's the caveat, and one of the things that I want to share with you. We talked about pH earlier. Hair, the natural pH of hair is between 4.5 and 5.5, correct? Thumbs up if that's right. Yes or yes? Perfect. So, this is important. This is acidic, so it's below 7, right? But in order for it to color, could it be more alkaline than natural hair? Natural hair, 4.5 to 5.5. So could this be 5.6 to 7? Maybe, right? So even though it says it's acid, it's alkaline to the hair. I hope that's not confusing, and we'll do Q&A on Thursday, so if you want more on that, let me know. So just know that this is still alkaline to the hair, but barely. So it's great on men, doesn't make them rust, which is really good. So when I start thinking about acid toning, I use it often as my second coat, the final finish. For the complexity, this is what the top coat looks like. So, I know that I almost spilled the beans on the last one. So here's what I like to, I also swatched out the Violet sheer acidic toners, and I swatched them out on the inside and outside of a banana, but then I've got one other thing here that I'm going to show you on this far one. I'm just covering it with my finger. So here's your sheer Violet in 8 and 10. Again, the sheer Violet really balanced out that yellow beautifully. It neutralized it. So look at how great that would be on a level 8. It tones it beautifully, right? Here it is on a level 10. Now you're starting to see a little bit of base. But look at the one that's right here that I've got my finger over. Look at what's coming. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here. This is the sheer acidic Violet with clear. Guess what, you guys? We are getting a clear acid coming your way soon when all this craziness is over, right? So we're going to be able to create these light shades in our acidic toners because we're going to get an acidic clear. Look at the hearts go, yes, woohoo! I agree, Julie. Anything higher than the pH would be considered alkaline dust. Correct. Give yourselves a high five. Absolutely. Let me know if this is good information so far. You guys good? Good. Let me just look at my notes here. I talked about the sheer steel being good for men and the acid. I talked about it as being a great second coat. If I'm doing alkaline and acid on the same head in my coating, I always start with alkaline and then I put the acid and finish on the top, correct? Does that make sense? Heart's going, love it. Okay, I'm gonna go here, you guys. I did an ash one too, I said ash with an H. So here's the sheer acidic ash too on an 8, a 10, and with clear. And I did, you guys, the clear, I did equal parts. So you can kind of see where that falls. So I hope that's good. I know it's amazing, right? Super excited to have these. So, and they're interchangeable. You can mix the nude with the ash. You can do whatever you want with those. But look at the control. It's so awesome. So enjoy those. It's really great. So you guys, it's 11:40. I hope that was good information. Just a little recap that alkaline and acid is everything to us when we're coloring hair and understanding where things fall on the pH and when and how to use them. Is that an acidic clear? It is. It is, Alex Torres. It's an acidic clear. How exciting is that? It's coming your way soon. So I just want to recap. I use alkaline toners for pre-toning a lot to balance out that background color. If you want to make a really beautiful, have a purple pop, if you want to have a purple pop and you've pre-lightened, right? You want to really have like a so-color called purple pop, and you want to, or like a lavender look, really lavender, like so-color called lavender macaroon. If you put lavender macaroon on the inside or outside of a banana pre-lightened, it's going to tone it, right? It's going to neutralize it, and you're going to go like, oh, it looks flat. It just looks sort of brownishy violet. However, if I take the anti-yellow out first, and I neutralize that yellow, and then I lay my semi-permanent lavender macaroon over the top of it, trust me, that is going to pop and move forward because it's not going in to balance out the yellow. So that's great for pre-toning. That's how I use those. So think about that in all the arenas. And then I like to finish my top coat with my acids. So that closes down the cuticle, makes it shiny, super exciting. So study your pHs, understand how they work, and that so that you can be thoughtful in your formulation. That is the goal here. So we have about 3 minutes left. I wanted to do a little teaser. So Thursday we're going to be back. And I hope I answered some of your questions. Thanks so much for sharing your knowledge. It's my pleasure. I humbly am here to serve. I just want everyone to make their lives easier, not harder, in coloring hair in the salon, and to create beautiful finishes when they come back. So I'm here to help in any way that I can. DM me with any of your questions so that we can address them, because we're going to be back here on Thursday. And and I'm going to answer those questions. However, I want to do a little teaser. So on Thursday, I would like to share something with you. Has anybody heard of the mushroom brown? Everybody hearing about the mushroom brown and all of that? Here go the hearts. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. Thank you, Lenny. I'm in school and your info has been helpful. Thank you so much. Hi, Leah. What's in my hair? Nothing. I'm like natural right now. Or this is leftover Biolash color, the lavender. Anyway, so Thursday, coming back, we're going to do Q&A, but I wanted to share something with you. And that is the mushroom brown. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Matrix, when we get back to normal, is going to be launching acidic brunette toners. They are for the levels 4 and below, 5 and below, and they're awesome. And I've swatched them out so you can see what the bases are. I've been using them. They are incredible. And I've been able to create an exceptional mushroom brown, well, at least in my eye. I hope you feel the same. If I may say so myself. And I did it with pre-toning, and then I did it with the acidic brunette overlay. So I wanted to save that for you for Thursday. It's sort of like to get you back. So visit me on Thursday for showing you on a mannequin. I did it on a mannequin, so it's not even a weft. You'll get to see it. I'll show you the pre-light inside and what I started with, and then how I glazed and toned the other side. It's finished. You can see it. It's really beautiful, and I hope that the lighting is good for you guys to read it. So that's what I want to do on Thursday, is to show you the mushroom brown formula, talk about those brunette toners, because I'm super excited to really embrace our clients in that lower register. Really briefly, think about this. Even those brunettes that I talked about earlier that might be getting rusty, those brunette acidic toners are going to be beautiful to control that after we've put our pre-tone on, and then to lay the acid over. It's really going to be super cool. So between now and Thursday, thank you so much. It's 11:45. I think that's the end. Again, this is going to be taped. I will go back, review to make sure that I get all your questions answered on Thursday. Remember to drink your alkaline water. Yes. Remember that this is acid on the thing, so more of this, less of this, but enough of this to keep your mental health okay. And I love you guys. I hope you had a good time. Have a great day. You too. Thank you so much, Am. Love you guys too. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, I'm totally open to critiques, and let me know how I did in the Q&A, because, listen, if I talked too fast, the information wasn't great, whatever it was, I want to make it better for you, that you feel like it was worth your while to spend 45 minutes with myself and the lovely brand of Matrix. So, love you guys. You're so great, and gratitude. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay happy. Bye.